Hello, and welcome to Enigmatica 2 Expert Extended. If you are wondering, are you an expert? You need no more proof than this. That's right. 2 pairs of goggles. Now, if you're also wondering, did you spend the entire Minecraft day recording the intro because you don't know how to? I'm not going to answer that. But yes. Welcome. Other things you could be wondering include, how do we get more cactus? Actually, that is what I'm wondering. You might be wondering, this is definitely not the first episode, because you have lots of stuff. That is true. But it's the first episode for you because I haven't recorded anything until now. On the cactus. Turns out you can bone meal cactus. All these things I didn't know about cacti. Also, I had a bunch. Very good. It's done. Yes, this is what we ended up making, and the purpose for the cacti was these green walls here. It's room for Botania, so wanted to go with an earthy type of theme, but I ended up going with this kind of crypt basement floor, which is alright, but not very Botania. But with the wood roof and the green walls, it looks pretty good. Cool, so I think I built my machine right. Time to give it a first test. This is why I made this room. We're essentially duping gunpowder. Well, I guess I'll just show you. So we have to have the conjugation thing down there, which we do, which is for duping stuff with that. Then we will put a bunch of mana in here. Gets it from the spark. We want to cover this up and then just give it a test. And essentially, well, let's see. Okay, take 3, I have a demagnetizer, so that should solve that problem. Let's just note as well, 0 gravel here, 9 stacks here. It's a success, of course, if we end up with more than 9 stacks. Okay. We had 0, 796 there, and it'd be a smashing success if this is also full. Yeah, we can run it one more time. This is bad. Okay, this is very bad. We gotta get in there. Let's see if we can help it. Okay. Good. Okay, so that used a massive amount of mana. Yeah, so if you're wondering how this works, it's really easy and simple. The self-resetting lever here is probably the key piece because it's just basically an easy timer in one block, so it's perfect for this. The accumulator, as you can see, is always on except when it's getting power. So in this case, it'll be off for 5 seconds. It'll let the gravel accumulate here, and then it'll flip back on, start sucking up the items again, and the whole system's turned off, and it's only on for these 5 seconds, which is really key for this system because you don't want tons of items just spilling out all over the place. If you had it really any longer, you'll start duplicating too much, and then you won't be able to pick it up fast enough before you essentially lag out the game. And then the dropper just drops when it gets this redstone signal. So on for a couple seconds, this is not on, so it's not gonna pull the items. That means they all gather here and keep duplicating. This comes back on, and now it can start taking them in. So this number is going down, and then in a couple more seconds here, they'll all get sucked up, and it'll be done. Like that. I had all these mana tablets because I was like moving mana around when I was rearranging this room. So I'm just quickly refilling my mana by emptying them. Yeah, so a little problem here with the math on all this, which I decided to do as I was getting started on the second piece of this, making gunpowder from flint. That's 200 per, and for TNT you'll need 5 gunpowder. And to make 1 flint you need 3 gravel, and 1 gravel is 720 mana. So I added all that up, and it's 11,800 total mana spent for 1 TNT. But we're not getting anywhere close to that, like half essentially, for the cost. Okay, so this is the mana number, this is a 1 TNT, and we get 5,440. So completely net negative. We can't use mana to make mana in this way. So we could dupe it, but I'm not going to just because I feel like we have so many options, but I'm just saying that in case you're thinking it. Okay, and sand is fully covered using the Astral Sorcery generator up there. So sand is good. It's literally just gunpowder we need. So we could do mob farm, which is on my list to do anyway. I just don't know how fast that'll be with a general mob farm instead of a specific creeper mob farm, which we could also do. I'm going to look into that in a second. There is niter here, which turns into gunpowder, and we can get a 40% chance basically from just sand, and there is those augments here. So depending on how much you can buff that up and how fast you can make it all, kind of an option. There is an option with IC2 crops, which we're somewhat progressed into. I just don't know how fast we can make it, except without making a really good seed. If you actually wanted to invest the time, this would probably be a great option. This is worth testing here. Liquid Starlight, Tectonic Petroleum. I think we have both of them. If this is as fast as sand, that's super quick gravel, super free. The crafter from RF Tools, which we're already using, is incredibly quick to turn it into flint. And then we just maybe need a couple more crushers to turn that into gravel that are maxed out. All right, let's give this a test and grab a bucket of Starlight from up here and cook some more while we're at it to not be messy. We did have petroleum. Oh my god. No way. Alright, so I essentially copied the setup up here and put it right here. But this is too slow, because when we're breaking with our shovel it was basically instant, so I need to find a breaker that is closer to instant. I thought the best way to test this was just go into creative, so these two are no. This is what we're using. This is even slower. This is not a breaker. This is basically instant, just takes power, not a bad deal. This is basically instant too, takes redstone, very good deal, but it does break them in the world. Still might go with that. This is slow. Can take upgrades, I think. Nope. This is very fast, but takes power and also takes a tool, which we can make an unbreakable one. That'll be pretty fast, but it's just probably more work than we need to do. Okay, I installed the block breaker under here, but I didn't power it, so we can keep this block. Actually, we can just turn it on, and then it'll eat this, and then eat the next stuff. So that's good. We just have to get out of here now. Use our fancy new crawling. That's fine. We'll pretty it up later. Okay. Sweet. Gravel can go there, flint can go there. It's actually like the perfect placement. Make you turn it on. And it's not right. Okay, final status report for the moment. We kind of can see our, for now, end speed. Ultimately, these crushers are still the bottleneck. Gravel's obviously not a concern at the moment. This speed of crafting flint is incredibly fast, so that's not a bottleneck. It's really this speed. This speed of crafting TNT is not a bottleneck. Sand is not a bottleneck. Every 5 gravel here is 1 TNT, so it's decently fast. Maybe 1 every 5 seconds or so. Yeah, about that. This, I feel like, is going to be really laggy because it's constantly doing this forever. For now, I'm going to take a break and fix that, and then we have to make this look better and more navigable. So I ripped everything out, and then we're going to put it back, but in a much more logical way now that we know we have a new setup. So we can go over here. I'm thinking make gravel, turn gravel into flint, turn flint into gunpowder, collect sand, combine sand and gunpowder, make it TNT, and send it this way. Alright, I think this is maybe as good as we're going to get it for now. Definitely a lot cleaner. Over here we're making the same setup of petroleum and starlight, gravel, lava, starlight, sand. We switched, as I talked about, to the IF block breakers because they don't put anything into the world, and they're quite fast, but not fast enough is one of the main flaws on this piece. I did add a second one, and then we can speed it up when we get the speed upgrades eventually is probably the next biggest upgrade. The only other, and I'll come back to this, the only other biggest upgrade is this pipe is looking kind of glitchy. I don't really know. I think it is affecting the speed. It seems like it's kind of unable to decide where to send them after a while, and then it eventually sends them, but it kind of causes a delay, so we could switch these to a better pipe, but we need to make sure it's as fast. Then we just made 2 crafters, which is a good idea. Make it really simple. This is all gravel into flint, 3 crushers maxed out. I did go for 3. This is pretty solid speed of gunpowder. Now this is not fully accurate because we're using this buffer of flint. We're not going to have that much, but it is somewhat decent in terms of like how often this makes flint. I mean, you can also see from in here. So it'll get a little slower. Maybe if we fix the pipe, it'll be a little faster, but not as fast as it is now. We're using this, and I stopped buffering gravel. There's just no point. We just want the end product. And then sand is still wicked fast. This doesn't matter. It's just nice to have. This is the speed right now of gunpowder. Very good. Like 3 seconds maybe, about. And then yeah, every click here is a gunpowder getting sent out. Now the goal, if we're trying to support 10 entropeniums, is not going to happen with this speed, but we don't necessarily have to do that. So down in the underbelly here, we could clean it up a little bit or light it up. I'm not really going to come down here that much, so I'm not too motivated, especially at the moment. I'm kind of done with this project. One thing that was really nice that saved me was the Signalum item ducts, because they carry power and items, and that was nice because I was trying to do this look where it's all kind of clean and in the walls and not show any cables. I had to do this here because just mechanism is very sided and I didn't have enough sides, but this actually looks kind of cool in the depth with that, and the glowstone, not bad. But yeah, this is nice because it's both transferring power and it just connects right up to a flux duct. It's awesome. But then it's also just a regular item duct, so it saves you a side. Very cool. So the power is coming from the power generation over by the base with the RF Tools wireless power. Pretty much the cheapest in this pack wireless power. It was kind of expensive to get anyway, but it's obviously super convenient. Powering this, which powers this whole system. But then also that's that flux duct cable down here. I do think it looks cool actually down here, seeing all the items move. I like the transparent cables always in Minecraft. I came down here to tear down this, but then I looked at the recipes and there's not really that useful in case we happen to want to dupe something. Then there's like a 1-off or 2-off recipe that we obviously don't need an automated system for, but whatever, I figured I'd keep it. So I think I converted it into manual mode. So I just removed this block. Now you can just put whatever you want to dupe in there yourself, flip the lever, it'll drop it, it'll dupe it. Same system, 5 seconds, dupes for that amount of time, and then it collects it all. And you get it all back here. Not bad. Obviously, when you don't drop a stack all at once, you get less, but yeah. I don't know. If we need the space, we can get rid of it, but for now, maybe we'll use it. So we can go ahead and do the actual plan of why I was making all this mana, which was for the orchard. We can set that up down here, and I basically think I have it already. I kind of forget, honestly, at this point, how I do it, but I think it's simple. I'm making progress here. Unfortunately, this is going to have to convert all the stone around me until it then can be used for what I actually want. It's using a lot of mana. You can almost see it. I'm going to search if there's a way to like change its range. I don't think you can decrease its range. This sound is a little annoying, and it's going to use a ton of mana, and it's going to take a while. Okay, I think we good enough to give it a go now. I found the bucket, I made the tank. For now, I actually just want to store items somewhere where we can see them, and then we'll figure out how many drawers we need. And so we put you back. That guy should eat the experience. That will eat the items. Let it run for a bit, and we can figure out what items it's making. We can look in JEI too, but it's easier. Oh, what the setup is. Orchid, mana. This is basically a miner. You can use a pick. I liked this because it has a blacklist. Otherwise you have to kind of do a redstone or a timer or something. But this is really easy. Just not going to mine it until the orchard changes it to the thing that's not stone. This makes stone. Yep. This place This place is stone. Okay. This takes the item because this just spits the items out. This gets the items. Gonna put them in a drawer wall, but right now we're just looking. This gets the XP. Yeah, so we got it done in a 1.0 state. It turned out that certain Botania functional flowers can be redstoned, which I really like. So turn it on and then turn it off. And it's very mana hungry, so that's convenient that we don't have to run it all the time. And then, yeah, we just have a drawer wall storing it in XP storage. I do at least want to take the apatite and then combine it with the sand and make fertilizer, which is like our actual goal of this, of this whole crazy Botania arc. So we should do that. But yeah, then we're pretty good. I was working on some other stuff, but I noticed we were full on TNT, so I turned the full system on. And I just want to see for a minute if, with full TNT, if it'll just stay on without breaking. It does not. It slowly gets out of sync and then some of them turn off. It is better when it's full on TNT, but yeah, we'll want to redesign this. Yeah, so I got the fertilizer piece all done. It was pretty easy. Made some ender chests. It was actually the first time making them. They're a little expensive, but super useful, of course. Have flat transfer nodes. Actually use that upstairs as well. So we're getting sand from the generation there, pumping it into the crafter. We have the apatite right there, and then we're just simply crafting it into the fertilizer, and again, another flat transfer node, pushing it up here. We really use fertilizer very slowly, so honestly we can just come down here and grab a bunch and then bring it over here and drop it off at the power generation, like once every 20 hours or something. Or we could rig up ender chests and send it over there. Okay, so it's been a second since the previous clip. I'm just trying to finish up Botania stuff. This was kind of annoying. I'm not a huge fan of integrated dynamics because you have to make 10 million cards. I'm also I don't really understand it and I'm bad at it. But this is a 95% good system, so it does solve the problem of flowers stealing each other's mana and then not triggering their redstone. So it's basically just 2 dispensers now, since these guys actually have a massive range. It's 12 by 12 by 12. So these 2 dispensers do it, and it basically is like read any flower, send a TNT unless there's an entity detector here. So unless there's a TNT in this space, that's why there's like kind of a delay, because everyone was full for that like second. The only flaw is that there's 2 of them. If I have 1 of them, it's not fast enough for 10 flowers, but if I have 2 of them, there could only be 1 flower that is empty. It'll trigger 2 TNTs. You can see they're kind of like on the exact same time. And then 2 will go off, only 1 will eat it, and the other explosion will explode. But I found this shock absorber block from Actual Additions in the pack, and if you power it, it'll use some power and make the explosion not do any damage. So rarely we waste some TNT, and that makes it not damage it, and it's all fine. Yeah, it's cool. I like the vertical look still. I'm going to clean this up in a second, and all of them work. And then when it's all full on mana, so then these guys are not 0 because there's nowhere for them to send their mana. They stop, this stops, and it's all good. This is actually good, working really well back here as well. It's basically like everything is just full. This drawer is full. This is backing up again. So yeah, life is good, except it was painful yesterday to do all this. Yeah, I don't really, like, there's the mana reading cards. That's kind of what these are down here, and then they are like end cards or something. So it's like if this is true of like if mana is 0 is kind of what these cards are, and then I had to make this like ore card. So it's like all of them are on 1 ore card, but you have to do it manually. So you take 1 ore card, one ore card, and then the next ore card, and then you have 2 in that 1 card, and then you add the 3rd and the 4th, and you like make this like ultimate ore card. But it's just annoying. You're like juggling all these cards, and they all look the same, and you're looking them all in here and stuff, and yeah. And then these are the entity things, so it's kind of like a 2-check thing of empty space plus mana being empty. Yeah. Okay, so that wasn't fun, but it's good enough for as long as I want. Probably can keep it forever. I might, if I go to Gaia spreaders and like max them out, we could just like rip all this out and go with a timer and like a kind of blast cage type of thing. because again, they have that massive range, and then I can just deposit the mana really quick and send this really quick and be done with ID and be even faster. So maybe I'll do that, but I don't actually have to unless I want to. And then I just set this up over here. This is the Factory Dropper from Engineer's Decor. It was a little confusing for me with this UI, so I can try to explain it for you. These seem to be filters. So I think it'll only drop stuff that has a filter. So I don't know what you do if you need more than 3 things. I guess you get multiple. This is like logic stuff, but I don't know. And greater than 1. And I don't know what that is. It's working for me though. This is drop speed. This is drop angle. This, I don't know. No, this is drop speed. This is drop power. But anyway, for Terra Steel, it's quite good. So we'll put the Terra Steel ingredients in here manually. I thought it was... Why did it do that? I have a redstone. Okay. Well, I don't know. But yeah, we'll fix that in a second. But it has its own timer, and it drops 1 of each. And then this is just an item filter with just Terra Steel. So that goes in here, but these guys won't get picked up. And so yeah, I just can mess with the timing a little bit and figure out this redstone thing. And then this is done. So I figured this, I don't understand it, but I figured this out for being fully redstone controlled in the way I want. So you want this bottom to look like that. That's as far as I'm going to go with explaining it, because like I said, I don't understand. But then you put the items you want in, flip the lever, drops it, has a timer, so it'll send the next one, and you're good. So next up on our finish Botania to-do list is making, I'm just doing it like this because I want to see how much 1 ingot gives you. Making Mirion, which is going to be used for tinker materials. I'm going to have to spend a minute and like figure out which parts we want it on all the tools. And we have a lot of tools and armor and tools. This is kind of the stats, but I'm not going to go through it here. The stat I do want, though, is just mana, using mana instead of durability. Currently, all my tools have some fluxed thing, which makes them take energy, so I carry on this capacitor. But I have to recharge this, and I don't have wireless power yet. But the main thing is they actually use a lot of power, and they don't charge that fast. So if I vein mine, for example, it will eat like almost all the power, and then I have to wait a couple seconds before I mine again, or it uses real durability. But with mana, I should not have that problem, and basically as long as I have mana, it should be like I have full durability all the time. And for having mana, I'm going to use the mana mirror. Of course, you can use rings and stuff like that, but this will just kind of wirelessly take from a mana pool and always keep me full as long as I have mana, which I should. That's a good ratio. So 1 ingot of everything plus 1 piece of sand gives you 4 Mirion. So yeah, it's not going to be that much to make a bunch of Mirion. Guess it's just 1 to 1, but still, I'm pleased. By the way, if you ever make a smeltery, and it's kind of like your permanent smeltery, consider going wide instead of tall. It gives you a lot of IO, and it's really nice. So you can have permanent setups for blocks, permanent setups for ingots, changeable spots for different molds, more extra ones, more extra blocks, more extra that I'm not even using. It is still super old school. I'm still using wooden hoppers and just under everything. This is output, and I keep all the molds and stuff here. But this is a very nice to live with smeltery design, and it looks pretty good. Very good, so we went ahead and put the Mirion on all the tools, all the armor, all my extra tools, so we have no more durability to worry about, and as I was going I tried to upgrade all the pieces as best I could. We're still not super far in the pack, so I'm not like unlimited power or anything, but decent upgrade, and I'm happy with it, and the no durability is awesome too. I made the mana mirror I was talking about also, very cheap, and yeah, you just right click it on any mana pool, and then they're basically synced up. So this is full because this is full, and this, of course, has the sparks, so it's basically pulling from any of our normal non-augmented sparks, which are these 8 here. So we've got a ton of buffer, we've got a good system, it's all in all the tools, so durability is not a problem, and we can basically use as much mana stuff as I want, which is actually my next thing thing. I just went through and kind of picked out some of the baubles and trinkets and stuff that I want, and I'm working on getting those. And then I also want to get the Flugel Tiara, which is a pretty good creative flight option. I think it's limited to 30 seconds, and it has some like gliding function. I've never used it, but in this pack, of course, lots of flight options are gated. I think that'll be a lot better than the jetpack, and we won't have to charge it, and it'll be actual creative flight. So I have to do the Guardian of Gaia, so I'm kind of crafting up stuff for that, as well as some of this, but some of this is like gated behind, not that one. Some of this is gated behind Thaumcraft stuff I don't have, and this thing, so yeah, we'll have to navigate that and maybe do a bit of Thaumcraft, which I don't mind. I got distracted looking for quicksand, but then I came mining, but I just found this storage bag, which I think has the native clusters and stuff that I need, maybe. We needed gold and copper. Yeah, we have gold. Crafting away. What I'm crafting, by the way, is mana dust for Gaia pylons, and mana dust needs all the thermal dust things. I don't really find the mobs, but you can craft each rod with empty rods, which is what I needed the charcoal for, and then putting some sort of liquid in the smeltery. Made one, but I didn't realize you needed 4 dusts per, and you need 4 of these, so it's going to be pretty expensive. I think to finish up Botania for the moment at least, we just try and get the rest of these items, which requires a little bit of crafting and finding, hopefully. So one of the ones is the upgraded sash here. We need the fancy belt, which needed native copper clusters. Luckily, I just had to click in the Thaumonomicon, and then the research was like already done for us. I just had to press complete, so that's awesome. I was kind of hoping it'd be like that. So this has whatever we needed, metal and ordo. Okay. And then we throw this in there, and we get that. All right, I did that a couple times. We ended up with 6. I think we only needed 1, but might as well get more while doing it. You know how it is, always batch craft. All right, so that's the fancy belt that we needed, and then we can upgrade our sash. Nope, we have to put the recipe in ourselves. There we go. And this was easy. Gaia Spirits in this pack. We had Terra Steel. We have a lot of Terra Steel. We got Gaia Spirits from fighting it. Mana Steel, and then this was Mana Dust, which we needed for the other stuff, so I just had to make one more of those. Next up is this Reach Ring. I figured it could be nice to think it gives you 3 extra blocks of reach. It's a good amount. So we just need the tool one. Let's throw some hose in here, and then get some of this. Nice. I did not think about the placement of this vacuum elator and the runic altar. That's unfortunate. Maybe we just put it on the other side though. Yep, works over here. I'm just crafting up, I think, Runes of Summer, which we needed for the Reach Ring, which we needed for Runes of Pride. Yeah, so I'll do that. Always nice how you get your runes back when you're making runes with runes. I didn't realize that for a long time when I was playing Botania. And so I'd always craft a ton of runes, but you need less than you think because of that. I got 6 of those, 12 of these, that's more than enough. Nice, nice. So with that, it was easy to make the rest of the ring. And now we can reach stuff very far away. Next up is the Pyroclast Pendant, and then the upgraded version. Pretty easy. I think this just makes you fireproof, but I'm going to read about it and tell you. Yes, indeed, immunity to all fire and lava damage. Alright, so the last thing I want is the ring of magnetization, and then the good one. We can make everything in this except the Cloud Stepper ring from Thaumcraft, which requires infusion. I would rather not set up infusion right now, so you can find this in a variety of loot chest locations. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time and see if I can find it. It's not listed here, I think it's bugged, but I figured out where it is, so I'm going to go look. These are the places we have to look. I think I'm going to try the nether first. Should be reasonably pleasant in the nether now. We got creative flight, and we can test if we are fireproof. Yep. Cool. So I'm just going to look around for fortresses and see if I haven't looted them, and hopefully we can find that ring. Well, so not only have I been here, but yeah, I just made this. No, I've been here before, but also I made a mob farm here. I had no idea. I did take like a 8-month break on this pack, so there's some stuff I forget. But I wonder what I was mob farming. Oh, wither skeletons. I didn't even mark it on the map. Okay, well, that's good to find. Yeah. I had no idea I had this. I would say that pretty likely means we've looted this place, so I'm going to see if I can find a different one on the map. And I found another one, a new one. What I'm going to do is attune the scanner to the looter chests, and I'll be able to find all of them pretty easy. Okay. Oh, we just made that. Nice, that was super easy. We found 2. There's a bunch more chests. I'm going to get all of them and then get out of here. And we've got a bunch of interesting stuff. We'll look through at the end. I know there's chests in here. Seems like more of a similar... Ooh, about the Traveler. More of a similar loot table. Cool. There's a ton in this section. Sweet, so these 3 chests are what we walked away with from that. This chest is kind of the interesting stuff, some speed upgrades, just nice not to have to craft them, especially the Industrial Foregoing one, because this is gated behind Replication, which I don't have yet. You only get 1 though, so I don't really know how valuable that is, but hey, I'll take it. This is a decent artifact weapon. Artifact weapons are just pre-made Tinker's stuff, which can be looted or dropped from people. Not necessarily better than my sword, I guess as a backup if I ever die or something. And also artifact weapons you can't modify or repair unless you do a plate of unsealing on them, which is a little bit expensive for me at the moment, but not too far away. Basically also replication. These are the Cloud Stepper rings we actually wanted. I think these are focuses for Thaumcraft, but it looks like they are the advanced focuses, so I'm wondering if I can either use them if they're good or just change them and make them whatever I want and not have to craft them. Could be nice. These are kind of some Thaumcraft stuff, more stuff. Toolkits are interesting. I haven't made these yet. I was looking at the quest though for it, which we also got when we looted it, and they're basically like creative modifiers, but one-time use each, so they don't stack. But there's 4 tiers, and you can craft them. So if you need more modifiers, that's cool. Always down for more modifiers. And this is not too exciting. Of graves and research stuff is always nice. And then this is just everything else that we got that I don't want to go through, is less particularly useful at the moment. While as a knight here, I'm doing the astral sorcery craft for the lens that we need for the magnet ring, which was our whole purpose. I think I'm the only one in the world who likes the rain in Minecraft. But yeah, I love the rain. I love snow even more in Minecraft, but I'm not going to get that here. Got the ring made, that's nice. You know, we had a magnet before, but this one's mana-based, so now we currently don't have to carry anything in our inventory to recharge it or have anything power-based, so for now it's nice. And I think the Botania one's pretty good. In the other room there, on that stonework factory, I made that cobblestone 81,000 of it. just kind of leaving it alone. We had this extra from making gravel for mana, but we switched off that. So I decided I would stop making cobblestone now because we have tons, and let it make silicone. I found this recipe, and if we just leave this for a few hours, and we'll bank a bunch of silicone because our next goal is A2, so that'll probably be something we'll be thankful for in the future. Got the room cleaned up there. I can add these chests that I made to our storage. This is why we need AE2. This storage is, I never planned to have this much, but I keep being lazy, and for some reason it's not as laggy or breaking my world as you think it would be. But yeah, it is more than time. Alright, so I finished up the Botania room. Maybe not finished. I think we could de-squarify this ceiling as well as put a different block in there and probably add some lights. I'm thinking maybe the arcane stone, but I think that's too black and it's just going to kind of bleed away into nothingness, but I'm not exactly sure what I want, and I don't want to necessarily introduce a new color in here. And the shape is probably a little bit easier, like some stairs in the corners or something. So in the future, like I said, I kind of want to be done with Botania for the moment, and I think this is a good enough wrapping up point on it. And actually for the episode too, the room's all prettied up, the systems all work. We ended up getting all the things we wanted out of Botania, so we can fly, we can reach, we can do all this stuff. I think that's also going to wrap up this first episode. So yeah, thanks for watching it. I think in the next one we're going to do either... I want to do AE2. The only thing I'm other considering is doing some sort of ore generation method, just because it might be nicer to, like, when we switch to AE2, at least the way I do it, like I want to kind of do full digital storage and stuff, and so to have all the resources to be able to do it and make some of the upgrades and enough cells and stuff, maybe it's better to spend a little bit on automating basic resources instead of just having to mine like I currently do. So I'm going to look into that and decide on what we do next. But you'll figure that out at the next episode. Yeah, this was the first video I ever made, so feel free to let me know what you think about it. I think we can both take solace in hopefully it being the worst video I ever make, although I don't know, like maybe 20 years from now I get really jaded if it's my videos then are worse than this, but for now, for a good medium while, they should at least be better than this one. So yeah, thanks, bye.